Well, you tell a 9-year-old boy that. Yeah. And so he kept awake, and he did, and he saw a whole horde of horses, donkeys, and whatever would carry, going up Hungard Lane and along Bridlington Street. And they went up, and when he made inquiries next day, as a small boy will, they'd put their smuggled goods in the last plantation on Hungerby Row. If you go on Hungerby Row, after the last farm, there's an isolated plantation, which was meant to be another farm. And from there they were removed to home. The smugglers up. And the route they came up was, I don't know if you know it, Butcher's Haven.
Yeah.
Which is actually in the Butlins camp.
Yeah.
Butcher's Haven, up through the farm at Mark Sutton's, Airy Hill.
Yeah.
Up to the lane that comes into Hunmanby, just through the bridge on, it's the old nearest right of way to the sea, Smuggler's Route, which it's always known as, and up through the village and up to that plantation on there. Now he saw this, he witnessed this, and he said it was quite a big, his word, quite a big procession. It wasn't just 2 or 3, it was 20ish, you know, quite a lot. And that was in his living, so that would bring it, he died in 1946.
The middle 1800s, isn't it?
And I understand that was the last major smuggling. Although that must have been a whole boatload. But I think a lot of other, because rum was a popular drink. Other villagers couldn't afford rum, but convenient casks of rum were left at various places for the help certain villagers given them.
Yeah.
However, now that is fact, he saw that himself, work it out. And I don't think that could have been done without the conspiracy of the Lord of the Manor. And there are other attachments to the Lord of the Manor as well. But what else do you want to know? Have you any questions?
We have, yeah. When do you think that Filey took over from Hungerby, became larger? And then do you think that was due to fishing?
1890, I think I'm right on this with that. 1890, the counties and the urban were made.
Yeah.
1895, which was the rurals and the parish. Am I right on that? I think
Around about that time,
yeah. And so in 1890, Filey became an urban town. It was logical, although at 1890 it was beginning to grow because of the railway. And it's a wonderful position on the coast, let's be honest, you know. And it was never before that time, it was always part of Hunmanby. I mean, my aunt, who was born in 1880, and she lived to be 97, and I remember her well, she was like a second mother to me. She quite remembers Farley folks coming up to the Wednesday market, walking up from Farley over Mill Hill and up the fields, which is a straight run,
Because that path is still there?
Yeah, of course it is, yes. I mean, and they came to the Wednesday market. Although I said it was on a barter system, someone would bring up fish and take away milk and eggs and what have you.
So fishermen were giving the fish to people to take to the market?
Well, they had no money, and there was a distinct barter. She said you could see the market cross at Hunmanby, the 4 sides. It would be laid out, and there wasn't need to be enough, because they knew they were picking up, and they would take something and leave something in. Although money was exchanged, there was a lot of barter went on.
Yeah.
And she quite remembered that in the up to 1890. it faded out, of course, when Filey got shops and what have you.
Yeah.
I'm very interested that there was never, ever a direct link when your mind wants to, the Royal Mail coach or any of the coaches. Filey was always excluded. Yes, because they went direct from Bridlington, Hunmanby, Scarborough.
Yeah.
Went through Muston, over Cars to Caton, but they couldn't go, there was no Valley Bridge, and went up Ces Mowthorpe.
Yeah.
Now that was well in on the go, but I know that faded out, the last fast haul coach, which was competing with the railways and losing. My aunt and my father moved to our old home, Hawthorne House in Hunmanby. Of course it all belongs to Lord of the Manor then, but they moved there in 1900, and both of them have told me that on a calm spring or autumn day, they could hear the coach horn sound his horn at Hunmanby Gap Crossroads to warn them at the Royal Oak Inn to have a fair horses for a quick change round and a quick drink if anybody wanted one, but that was not, they didn't get out of the coach there. It was just a quick change to get on. Now, that ended about, certainly after 1900, now say about 1905, as a guess. And the interesting thing then, a year or so after, the licence from the Royal Oak was bought by a vet in Hunmanby and taken to what was the Veterinary Arms. I think the only pub in the country ever called that. And he was a vet, but he was the old time-served vet, a horse vet, and a good vet too. But he was in competition with two veterinary surgeons, Mr. Best and Musson, who they had qualifications.
Yeah.
And he hadn't, and he realised he was on a sinking ship as well. So
they'd been to university,
yeah,
that's
right. So he took the Veterinary Arms. He never lived there. He put a landlady in. That was an option of the end of the coaching era. But I do find that there's references in from Scarborough, a coach calling it Filey. Now where it was going to, I don't know.
There was a coach that went from Scarborough to Bridlington, calling it Filey. But it was a novelty. It was novelty volume, really.
Yeah.
It ran in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
I think it was resurrected just after the First World War, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. That's when a lot of things stopped.
Yeah. But I think it was mainly for novelty rather than transport.
Yeah. Miss Houston has a lovely record from an old person in Filey. I don't know who it was, but oh yes, she said, my mother, she used to pick up post from Hunmanby until 1910. She used to walk up.
The old lady who used to go from Filey to pick up the post?
Yes,
yeah.
And it was always put to a fisherman's widow.
Oh.
Yes.
Because they needed supporting.
That's right, yes. And she walked from Filey up to Hunmanby. Mind you'd walk across fields, which would be a mile and a half, 2 miles maybe, which was not uncommon there. People walked. And picked up the mail from one of the coaches, Hull coaches, between Hull and Scarborough.
That was still going on in 1910?
I think 1910.
Yeah.
Yes, 1910 I think. That was the time when the telegraph came and the whole postal system changed. You get a good idea when the post office was built in Filey. Yeah. I do know if I look, it's in Michael's book.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, have you read that book? It's a wonderful book.
Michael Fearing's book.
I only wish I could have written one as well. Yeah. There's no pal of mine, Scoochum as well.
That's nice.
Do you know what sort of relationship the Lord of the Manor had with the fishermen in Filey? Did they supply him with fish or?
No, they paid the normal rents.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, there's no tithe on it like that. Yeah. No, it was just a corner of his, and they paid the rents.
Yeah.
And they paid the rents for the fields. But you see, he was rather canny. So Humphrey...
Osbaldeston.
Pardon?
Osbaldeston.
Yes, but yeah, never mind. He was the grandson of what, because the manor can only pass to the male, and he got it. He was a farmer at near Selby, Humphrey, father. And he took the names, his own name, and he hyphenated it to Osbaldeston. He was a good man. He was only 21 when he inherited. Are we all right?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's my phone, but I'll just leave it.
Okay.
It's in my coat outside. It's in my jacket outside, but don't worry.
Okay.
Thinking about your own father as a wheelwright and joiner, did he do work for local fishermen?
Oh yes. The cobble landing was always the problem. It was high up, and they had to have wheels, both wheels. And I think, have you got a photograph of them there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we were wheelwrights, and yeah. No, that's the carriage, yes.
I was going to ask you about that actually. I better. Do you want to stop it for a second? The bathing and the fishing wheels.
Pooty Wright is a scrap merchant. He had the bathing huts on part of Filey Beach, and we made him 50. They were about 10 by 6. Because we made chicken huts that night, you see. This was part of the thing and order you would have get from a farm. So a chicken hut with an oak beam at front and back with 2 iron wheels on was ideal. And of course, you'd get them at a discount because it was something we were used to making. So we made 50 of them for Pooty Wright. The last one is very interesting, I'll tell you. We also, of course, made a lot of water carts in those days because, remember, there's no piped waters to fields. So farmers always had a water cart, which was effectively a large cask, beer cask. Usually it's a bigger one, I forget what the size is, but we delivered from the brewery when we wanted one. And the last time that Booty came up, he brought his horse up to take him down to Filey on the wheels, you see, and the casks had been delivered. Must have been one that had been storing some rum in for the works, that they got the wrong one. And we had 15 men working at the time. The first indication everybody asked was the woman next door house, have you got a cup on here, have you? And anyway, all the 15 men, including my dad and Pooty Wright, were pretty well plastered. Dad said it was strong stuff. And it was free. Now Pooty Wright, he would insist in putting the horse back wrong way round in the shafts. And in the end, persuaded him it wasn't, so he got on his horse and rode back to Filey. He didn't make it. He was in Edge Bottom just all night and until next morning. And when he got home, he got a toasting from his wife. And I can tell you that's true because about 19, just before my father died, we were driving through Filey, there was Pooty Wright sat in his house on a chair outside his house. And they yelled to one another, "All right, Pooty, yeah." And so I said, "Hey, come on, look, I've just got a television, come inside and look at it, Herbert." And we went into the house. I was only about 20 at the time, and Mrs. Wright, "Is that Herbert Mowthorpe?" "Yes." "Well, he can get out of my house, bringing my husband back drunk." Yeah, and that was years later, yes. And so we retreated quietly, but
she remembered it forever.
Oh, I remember it very well. I don't think I'd seen a television at that time, but it was very rare. However, yes, and both wheels were made, and if you look, you will see many of them have a brass cap, Ces Mowthorpe, builder, wheelwright, top and bottom. You'll find, because there was about 40 cobbles at Filey then, and so we must have made cobbles, made them for nearly every one. Because when my dad was busy with other work, because we were building as well at Primrose Valley and Hunmanby Gap and Hunmanby, when he would put it out to my grandfather, Grants Burton, who was all geared up for it. And his would be E.W. Stennett, Grants Burton, builder on it. And I would say it'd be equally 50. And the last one we made was for Better Hope. It was a cobble, I'd be about 8, so that puts it about 36. A new cobble was ordered from boat builder at Flamborough. And I know we went down to get the what a new set of wheels with it, you see. And because the boat builder was in the middle of the town. You know, and I can just see this cobble completed, and my dad measuring it up for the width of the wheels. And then he came back and he made, I think that would be the last purpose one made. We might have repaired another one or two. That was Better Hope.
Would a set consist of 2 or 4 wheels?
Or 2.
Right.
You've seen them.
Central.
The thing that put us out of business, was by the 1940s, there was a lot of cars broken up.
Yeah.
Now a car axle with a rubber wheel on could be bought for a couple of quid.
Yeah.
It's ideal.
Yeah.
Put a bits of wood on for your cobble, and whereas I think a set of wheels was about £12.
And they'd be whole iron cast.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
They had much shorter spokes than the wagon wheels. They had a very large 6-inch spoke. Yes.
So it was just economics that stopped. It was just economics that stopped you.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like the rubber tyre took over.
Yeah.
It stopped wheelwrighting.
And they'd be scrapping all these vehicles, and they could just go down to the scrapyard and buy the axles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course we adapted them for them. I mean, it wasn't they'd bring wheels up and say, they'd make me a cart on that or something, you see, but not for boat wheels. They just needed a couple of, if you remember, a lot of the old were a slight curve, the axles. So well, that's ideal for a cobble. You just put 2